Yes, sir. Shout outs to the intro. Peace, y'all. Welcome to Rich Talks. I'll be your host this evening, aka Unk. And today I wanted to talk about Sean Combs, aka Puffy. Some of you might know him as Diddy. Some of you might know him as Brother Love, etc., etc. You know all those names. Anywho, I wanted to discuss a few things about him. In particular, how deep does his involvement in Tupac's murder actually go? Like, is he actually guilty? Is it all just rumors? Is it all a big conspiracy? Is there any real credence to some of these gay allegations that always seem to follow him around? And the last thing I wanted to touch up on was, why do artists still sign with Bad Boy when it seems to always end up like in worse positions than they started when they work under it? Now, for those that haven't heard yet, I bet most of you have, but some haven't, the Las Vegas police have actually finally made an arrest in relation to Tupac's murder from 1996. And 96, that's crazy. That's like 27 years ago. It's almost 30 years ago, and they're finally now making an arrest. Just seems like some interesting timing, to say the least. I mean, at least I think so. But anyways, they arrested a man known as Keefe D, who is a well-known leader in the Southside Compton Crip gang from LA. I mean, I say well-known, but technically he's not really that well-known in the media, except now, because within recent years he actually kind of published a book, like a tell-all book, kind of detailing. I'd say he kind of like confessed in his book to the murder of Tupac. How did we even get here in the first place? Well, for Keefe D, I think there was some sort of like maybe divine intervention involved, because probably the soul of Tupac's been working on the case like this entire time, and it's probably just been haunting the dude. Like, it's just been like festering in him. You never know, right? So take in the Keefe D was actually arrested back in 2008 on like I think like it was a PCP charge or something. And obviously he was looking at like 25 to life at the time. In addition to that, they were actually questioning him about his involvement in Tupac's murder at the time. So I think to save his own skin, he basically just like told the police exactly what happened the night of Tupac's murder. And, like, you think about it, it's like he essentially snitched on like his crew. But the irony is, the crew that he snitched on, which includes his own nephew, by the way, the crew that he snitched on, they all happened to be deceased by this time. Like by this time in 2008, they were already deceased. So I guess maybe he felt like it's not as bad because these guys are already gone, and it's like there really isn't anything that's going to come back to him in that regard, maybe. I don't know. But basically told him everything, and he got his charges dropped. Well, the drug charges he got dropped, because I guess they gave him immunity in that drug charge. But yeah, he still snitched, you know? It's kind of weird. Just like, they dropped the charges because you snitched, then you just got out a free man. So I'm like, all right, cool, I guess. You would think, though, like, if you got out as a free man when you were facing like 25 to life and also a potential murder charge, that you would maybe lay low, like maybe not start doing things that kind of bring spotlight back on you. Like, you would think so, right? But 3 years later, former LAPD officer Greg Kading, who's also the author of the book Murder Rap, which told the untold story of Biggie Smalls and Tupac's murder investigation. Greg actually mentions Keefe D's entire confession in his book. Why? Because Greg was actually a member of the task force that was given the assignment to investigate Tupac and Biggie's murders. And again, remember I mentioned that Keefe D was arrested back in 2008? Well, that interview that he gave was to Greg Kading. And actually, I think I have some of the audio from that interview right here.
We went to eat. We was eating. Man, they came and said, "He just beat up Lane." And we was in a hotel. Yeah, the MGM at the restaurant. It was a few New Yorkers though. We was with them. Like, man, y'all need some help. Well, we got this.
That's what they said?
You guys aren't out in Vegas then with that intention. That's not why you're in Vegas.
We've been going to the fight since that days, the 80s.
So y'all geared up to go to Vegas and y'all was going anyway. Not even knowing who else was going to be down there. Not knowing if Pac and shit was going to be down there. We didn't have no pistol. We didn't have no pistols down there. And
Zip, who knows about Puffy's offer to Keefe, says this is a good time to take care of that thing.
Shit.
He tells Zip, hey, we're going to go handle this shit or whatever.
Yeah, they asked like, do y'all want us to come? We like, we know where them motherfuckers at. They was telling us that they going to be at the 662 Club.
Who was saying that?
Everybody.
Everybody out there?
Yeah, everybody.
You get out of the car with Zip after everything. So what do you say to him? Like, man, we gonna handle this? Like,
yeah, we gonna go ahead. He's like, yeah, show the perfect time,
Okay, then you jump out of the car. And then what happens?
I got in the van with the busters. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so Lane and Cadillac with T Brown and Dre.
Yeah.
Y'all go with the van. It's 2 cars go to 662.
Yeah, the van and the Cadillac.
Keefe D, Orlando Anderson, and half a dozen of the other Crip gang members get into 2 vehicles and drive directly to the 662 Club, where Tupac Shakur is expected to be performing later that night. They park in the parking lot, anticipating Tupac's arrival, and simply lie in wait for him.
They didn't show up. We waited about 15, 20 minutes. They didn't show up. So it's like, let's go get some liquor. And Corey, they gonna kill us, dog. That motherfucker. Got the police killing motherfuckers and all that. Man, you crazy. Stopped at the liquor store. I got out the van with their ass and jumped in the Cadillac. Them motherfuckers busted, they scared.
According to Keefe D, some of the guys are getting nervous. So he jumps in the Cadillac with 3 other guys and decides to handle it on their own. The Cadillac is being driven by Terrence Brown. In the front passenger seat is Keefe D. Behind the driver is DeAndre Smith. And in the right rear passenger seat is Keefe's nephew, Orlando Anderson. With Keefe D and his crew ready to do this, they set out to find Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur.
Then we came up Harmon at the Las Vegas Boulevard, and shit, here they coming at BMW, a gang of cars. And bros, Tupac. And we like, there you go. Made a U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make a U-turn. Just wanted a U-turn. It was in the middle lane. We just pulled up on the side, checked every car to see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him? Was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac! He gave himself away. Otherwise, they would have got away. I thought he was going to pull on my side. That's my little nephew. I'm going to look out for him, And he pulled on their side.
So you were fitting to blast if you had to, or you were just...
Yeah, if we would have been on my side, I would have blasted. Okay. I gave it to Dre, and Dre was like, no. And Lane's like, give it to Pop.
So Orlando shot him across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, rolled down the window, Pop.
So Orlando would have had to lean over the top of Dre, right?
Yeah, he did.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you?
Yeah.
He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Why are you looking right at me?
Fucking know what he told us since we were 7, 8 years old. I seen a bullet going Suge again. I thought he was dead.
So Tupac's trying to jump in the back seat. And what Suge doing? Just ducking?
Ducking. He couldn't really duck because he was too big, Yeah.
Afterwards, when you guys are rolling,
I went and parked the car by the carriage house. There's a parking lot on the opposite side of the carriage house. We left the car there and put the gun on the tire and left.
On the tire, front wheel tire, back tire, what?
Front tire.
After y'all left the gun on the tire, Where'd you guys go?
And smoke weed and drink.
Is this guy serious? This guy really said they went to go smoke weed and drink after they took out Tupac? Did he really say that?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Man, this, I don't even know. This guy's crazy. But Greg Kading actually played another important role, especially in his book, because he happens to mention something very interesting. It's actually like, it's almost like a bomb, if you will, because he drops a big bomb. Let's listen.
Bolstering Keefe D's claim was an informant in 1997 who told investigators that Puffy had hired the Southside Crips to kill both Suge and Tupac, and that the Crip who was jumped at the MGM was in the group that had done the hit, and that they originally were going to do it at Suge's Vegas nightclub, but then decided to do it right away instead of waiting. This was exactly the same story that Keefe D told us a decade later.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
Wow. You heard it here. You heard it right there in Greg's interview. He paid to have Tupac and Suge taken out. That is crazy if that's actually true. But the fact that somebody corroborated that makes it seem very, very plausible, does it not? But going back to Keefe D, I don't think Greg's book actually sat well with Keefe D. I don't know, maybe he felt like it was his story to tell and he didn't like someone else making the money off of it. The thing is, you're technically a murderer who snitched, so who cares how you feel? Like, I think he just had this weird need for recognition that just kept festering in him for like years and years, and he really wanted to be known for being in the car the night Tupac died, like it was some kind of badge of honor. Like, I don't understand these people sometimes, man. Like, they do some weird stuff for recognition. The things that people do for clout is crazy. Like, especially if you have to put it on the deceased. Like, you were gonna do the crime. Like, well, sorry, you were gonna do the time for doing the crime. I guess I don't know, it just felt like some Final Destination shit. Because how is it that everybody else that was in the car that night is deceased at this point, and Keefe D's the lone survivor, and yet he's also trying to cash in on being the lone survivor? It just feels like he's probably going to end up in the worst situation, like those other guys got taken out by street rules, I guess, or just the karma. I don't know. Like, I just feel like the longer bad people live with karma, it just like builds and builds, especially like a karmic event like such as killing somebody, right? I think it just builds up and builds up like the longer you live. So I don't know. I guess he'll get his. But I don't know, the man broke the code. Like, even if it was to get off the PCP charge, you're throwing it on the deceased. And I don't know, I'm like, everyone always thinks about street justice and talks about street justice. Does that even exist anymore? Like, I don't know. I think it's all just
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Yeah. But I mean, like, ego can be a very powerful drug in itself. Like, you never underestimate the level of stupidity that a person is willing to impart on themselves to stroke their own ego. Like, personally, I think Keefe D should be in the running for top 10 dumbest criminals of all time. Like, you technically got away with murder, but then you got mad when someone else is telling the story. So you decide that you want to write your own book and literally confess, essentially, in your book. and it's a story that the streets already knew, and like the fact that the streets already knew this, and it still took like 27 years for the law to catch up, just goes to show that like a lot of the time these rumors and conspiracies, they might actually hold a little bit of some truth to them at times. I'm not gonna say that's in every case, but like in some cases, especially this one, I don't know. I think this could have been closed before Tupac's mother passed away. Like, I think that would have been a great gift for Afeni if Keefe D was arrested like before she passed away. That would have been great. But continuing on with Keefe, he went. He wrote that book, and I guess this was like a couple years after Greg's book came out, and there was like even a documentary on the whole situation. So Keefe releases his own book, meets up with Vlad from Vlad TV, whose YouTube channel alone has like over 5 million subscribers. And over the span of like several different interviews, Keefe D basically... Okay, so in his first interviews on Vlad, I'm not even sure if those interviews are even available anymore, because I know Vlad like did remove some interviews from back. I don't even know the reason why, but like there's some interviews still available, but not all of them. And when you see some of the ones that are still available, he's kind of like backtracking on like what he had said before. So like Vlad's a great interviewer. Like, shout outs to Vlad. He's probably like the best interviewer. This guy is somehow able to pull this information out of people just from like the way he asks the questions. And for Keefe, for example, like when Keefe would try to say like, oh, nah, that was in, nah, I'm not speaking on that, or I never said that, or something like that, then Vlad would say, yeah, but in your book, it said this. And then Keefe would kind of like, he used the Vlad interviews to kind of like promote his own book. It felt like it's like y'all just gotta go get the book. You know, you gotta go get the book. It's like, sir, are you serious? Like, are you serious? You know what it felt like to me, like when like combing back through some of his interviews on Vlad TV. I was reminded of the Edgar Allan Poe story of the Telltale Heart. You guys remember that story? It's like that short story where the narrator is basically also the main antagonist of the story, and he, from the beginning of the story, he's basically trying to I guess convince the reader that he's not crazy. But anyways, the story is basically about a crazy person who kills the old man that lives with him because he didn't like the look in his eyes. And after committing the murder, he convinces himself that he can hear the old man's heart still beating, and ends up like giving away the location of the body itself by the end of the story. I mean, it's certainly not the same, but like, I mean, you can kind of see the parallels here, can't you? Like, I don't know. Like, okay, let me just explain. I'd say like Keefe D's ego was the madman, and him being jealous about other people making money from his story or from the story of Tupac's death would be like the old man's beating heart. And I don't know, am I reaching? Okay, it sounds like I'm reaching a little bit. You know what? Never mind. Forget it. All right, so let's just get down to the nitty gritty. The reason Tupac was actually killed, because from some accounts I've heard, it's pretty messed up, and even from the account that Keefe D gave, it's actually pretty messed up. Like, so we obviously all know that Tupac was at the MGM for the Mike Tyson fight that night with Suge and the whole gang of Blood members. But I'm just gonna give a little more details that I guess Keefe didn't mention in his interview. So obviously, like, Suge and them ran with like Bloods and whatnot. So that night, some of the people that were with the death row crew that night was like obviously blood members, as I said. One of them was a man named Trevon Lane, who months earlier had actually gotten his death row chain taken from him by none other than Tupac's accused shooter himself, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, aka the nephew of Keefe D and the alleged trigger man. So here's where things got a little bit odd for me. Like when I was looking into this was basically at the time where the East Coast West Coast beef was like big, like it was at its peak, right? Some serious stuff going on whenever anyone was like on the other in the other city, right? So allegedly, I'm only saying allegedly because again, this is just alleged, but apparently they said Diddy had put out like a $10,000 bounty out on he put it about a $10,000 bounty out to the Southside Crips for anyone who brings back like a death row chain. And allegedly the reason was because the Southside Crips basically ran Bad Boys security when they were on the West Coast. So I guess that kind of fueled the fires of the East Coast West Coast beef a little bit, because you have Death Row who's already on the West Coast and they're messing with Bloods. So I guess to retaliate, I guess Puffy and Bad Boy decided to align themselves with the Crips. So I don't know, I guess it seemed like a thing, right? Anyways, so to anyone who brought back a death row chain, you get 10 grand. So obviously I'd say Baby Lane wanted to cash in on the bounty. It makes sense. I don't know. And Keefe D in one of the Vlad interviews says, "Oh, that's bullshit. Like that never happened. It's a $300 to $400 chain." And he kept repeating that it's like a $300 to $400 chain, but you guys can go watch the interview for yourself. But when I was looking at it, I'm like, that's suspicious why he keeps like repeating $300 to $400 chain. I feel like there was some truth to the actual bounty being put on the death row chains. I'm not going to say that it was probably 10,000 each, but there probably was a real bounty on getting a death row chain. Anywho, so by some unfortunate coincidence, both Trevon and Orlando, obviously in Vegas that night for the Mike Tyson fight, they're in the lobby. Trevon spots Orlando by himself. But again, here's where things get even more weird. Trevon's a Blood Gang member. Okay? Tupac is the superstar. You guys have a bunch of professional security. You have street security, aka other gang members who probably higher ranking. But like, can anybody tell me why? Can anybody tell me why? Why would Trevon point the Crip member out to Tupac instead of one of the security or Suge or like, I don't know. It's just suspicious to me. It just seemed very suspicious. Anyway, so Tupac walks over to Orlando, who's apparently starstruck because, again, the man's by himself in the lobby, right? You're at the MGM, so there's probably like a whole gang of stars everywhere. So obviously you're not going to be like on your ones and twos. And you're like, Baby Lane is known, respected, and feared Crip member at this time. So it's not like you can just, it's not like anyone would just walk up on him like that. Like, he was actually a feared member. So obviously the guy was like a little bit starstruck, so that's why he would allow Tupac to just come up to him like that, right? So I guess he was probably saying what up to Tupac. And apparently I think Tupac said something to him, like he said like, "You from the South?" or something like that, and then he punched him in the head. And after he punches him in the head, that's when like all the goons jump in and they all like start beating up Orlando and whatnot. And 2 later, obviously, like the story that was told by Keefe D earlier on in the episode here. yeah, they got all the crew together. They went to go find them at the club. They couldn't find them at the club, and I guess they just conveniently found them when they were trying to go dip to go get some liquor, and shots fired. But you know, there's also this long-standing rumor that Puffy actually put out like $1 million hit on Tupac and Suge around the night of the infamous murder. Like, allegedly, this was only done because one of Diddy's associates was nearly beaten to death by Suge's Bloods because he wouldn't give up the address of Puffy's mother's house. So, again, this is still alleged, but like, if this is true, this is so messed up. This is crazy. Apparently, so after the murder, the Crips never actually received the $1 million. So the reason Biggie died was apparently retaliation for the Crips not getting paid for taking out Tupac. Just nuts. That just sounds nuts. I mean, like, if that rumor is true, like, this man basically caused the death of his best friend because he was too cheap to pay his street security. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. That is crazy. But I got a real question for y'all. Yeah, I got a real question for y'all. Yo, diddle me this. Wait, what? Wait. Wait. What did I just say? Yo.
Why are you gay?
Say something.
You are gay.
Yo, that was so pause. I'm sorry. I even forgot the question I was gonna ask, man. That was so egregious. I'm sorry, folks. Wow. Okay. Yo, you know what? Diddle me this. That's gonna be the title. That's the title of the episode. I don't care. Fuck it. Let's do it. We're rolling with it. Right. Okay. Now I remember my question. So my question is, how many years of consistent rumors from like different parties does it take before we stop calling them like rumors or conspiracy theories? Because, like, think about it. For years and years, Puffy or Diddy or Diddler, as some of us seem to call him, like, whenever it comes to like this guy and talks about like suspect behavior, me and like some of my friends, we actually like to refer to him as Diddler. It's actually funny. Diddler. Diddle me this, Diddler. But yeah, why does he always seem like be surrounded by like consistent, not even constant, like consistent rumors and like of just suspect behavior and shady business practices? Like, somebody's always accusing him of something, and I don't know, man. Personally, I think it's been mentioned a little too many different times by too many different people for it not to have like a little bit of credibility. Because, like, the thing is, though, for me, I think that some of these artists and celebrities should actually be taking partial blame for some of the rumors falling into the conspiracy wayside, quote unquote. And why? Because too many people are out here doing for self, you know, they're doing for self to protect their own image or to protect their own investments, that they don't mind if a few people get sacrificed along the way, you know, like, or maybe they're just afraid because you think about it, somebody in a position of power just comes to you and like they try you, like it's I don't know, I've never been in that position where they just like try my manhood or something. Like, for example, Terry Crews. Remember when Terry Crews, like during the whole Me Too era, was saying how he was like assaulted in front of his own wife, like emasculated in front of his wife by a powerful Hollywood exec, and there wasn't anything he could do about it, which is nuts. Like, how much power do these people really hold? Like, does Power really? Nah, man. It's everything in there is just weird. But another big example I'll even throw out there, since we're actually just discussing music, right? Yo, the entire R. Kelly situation. Like, for years and years and years, artists continued to work with this man after the facts of his predatory dealings and behaviors had come to light. Like, that man married a 14-year-old Aaliyah. 14. That man, he was 30. He was 30. So disgusted just even saying that. And that man had a tape of himself urinating on a child that so many people had actually watched and even confirmed it was him, yet continued to like make music with him and continue to work with him and work for him and just get money with him. And like, man. And some people would even say like, like we should take some culpability as the masses for even listening to his music. Like, yo, we're not in those inner circles. We're the masses, yo. We listen to music. We listen to music we enjoy. We're here to consume. Like, if the ones in the know of the things aren't the ones to bring it up, or that, and these things continue to fall by the wayside as rumors or conspiracies, like, what are we supposed to do about that? We can't do anything about that. We can only speculate. That's all we can do until things get brought to light. Like, for example, look how long Bill Cosby was doing what he was doing, and nobody touched him until Hannibal Buress jumped off the cliff and just like brought all these things to light, and all of a sudden justice finally kicks in. You know what's weird? Why does justice always need to take like 20 plus years? It seems like, right? It seemed like lately, like the mention of the Tupac arrest, almost 30 years. The whole R. Kelly situation, I'm pretty sure that was well over 20 years. The Bill Cosby thing, that was again well over 20 years. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. It seems like the justice system really takes its sweet ass time. Really takes its sweet ass time. But now listen, speaking of suspect behavior, let's really address the elephant in the room here. We all know, as fans of hip hop and rap music, that rap in particular, rap specifically, it kind of stands on a homophobic platform. It does. Like, it really does. Like, it does. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. And the reason I don't have a problem with that is because, I don't know, you can even say I'm stuck in my ways. Like, whatever. I don't even mind that. But the thing is, everything is not for everyone. Okay? I understand, like, in this new 2020 era, it's like everything's about being more inclusive in everything that we do, but like not everything is for everyone. For example, I'm not heavy into like heavy metal or anything, but I'm not gonna throw my arms up in the air and be like, yo man, heavy metal should have like more lyrically coherent content. Like, I need to understand the lyrics more. Like, they need to make metal where I can understand the lyrics. Like, no, it's just not for me. Like, everyone has the thing that's for them and what's not for them. But you know what? The homophobia in hip hop, I keep saying in hip hop is a culture. It's technically not even a music genre. It's an actual culture, because how did hip hop start? Hip hop was the DJ, the dance, the MC, and the graffiti, right? But yeah, in rap, although there's a lot of homophobia in it, there's also been a lot of suspect stuff when it comes to rap. Like, for example, like, we're talking about Diddy and his suspect behavior, right? Well, what about his artists? I'm sorry, but Notorious B.I.G. had a couple of suspect moments in some of his bars. Like, I rate B.I.G. Like, I'm a huge fan, and like his bars are crazy. But like, hold on, Trap. Like, some of his lines were very like, hold on a second. Excuse me, what did you just say, sir? What did you just say? What did he say? Like, for example, I remember which song was it? Was it I Got a Story to Tell, where he's like, girl, you look so good, I'd suck on your daddy's dick. Hey, yo, pause. Oh my gosh. But obviously that was from a Richard Pryor line during his comedy, it's one of his stand-ups. Richard Pryor, that's another story entirely. His wife actually, like years later after his passing, actually outed him for being bisexual and actually having intercourse with Marlon Brando. That's another story for another time though. Yeah, there was that, and also I think this was a really suspect line. Was it in What's Beef? Where he raps, don't you know my niggas gotta fucking kidnap kids, fuck them in they ass, throw them over the bridge. He's like, hey, yo, what did you just say? So, yo, you see, so this is why like I wonder about like these men in positions of power, right? Because they do these weird things to like for power. It's not even for the gratification of like, you know, it's not for sexual gratification. It's more so just to have that power over somebody. Cause like they used to do this in slavery times. Actually, they called it buck breaking, where they would take like the biggest, strongest males and like literally the most powerful males, the ones that you could tell could probably like start a riot if they wanted to. If they gathered all the slaves, they could probably like start a riot or whatever. So the masters, they called it buck breaking, right? Where they would take obviously the biggest dude, strip him down, and then sodomize him in front of his family and in front of all the other slaves, so that nobody else even attempts to try to escape. Because if they can do it to the biggest, strongest one, it's like, what chance do the rest of you have? That's the mentality it is. And I don't think that's ever changed. I think that's I don't think that has anything to do with slavery in particular. I think it's just like a human nature type of thing. Like certain people, when they get in positions of power, the things that just come to mind in order to like, because you have to mentally break somebody in order to like gain their entire loyalty, right? Or no, like basically you have to break them entirely just to like, I guess, mentally enslave them, you know? But yeah, I'm just going off on some crazy tangents here. Oh man, where was I though? Right. Diddy's suspect behavior. So yeah, in a culture that stands on mostly anti-suspect rhetoric, isn't it kind of odd that Diddy seems to, you know, like gets away with a lot of suspect moments? And you know what, I don't feel right about just keeping it all on just mentioning B.I.G. lyrics, because come on, he's deceased, like, and he's a legend. I should at least talk about a living one that says some suspect shit. Eminem. Well, let's use Eminem. Eminem's a good example. Oh my god, he really does say some egregious stuff in his rhymes. Really egregious. I remember one suspect bar that still stands out to this day. It was a track with Dr. Dre. And what was it? I don't remember the name of the track, but I remember the verse. I remember it was like, Dr. Dre, I got a question if I may. Is it gay to play putt golf with a friend, yeah, and watch his butt when he tees off, yeah, but I ain't done yet. All right, I'm very, very. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anymore because it got really.
Why are you gay?
Season.
You are gay.
Hey, yo. All right, all right, so back to Diddy. Yeah, so I was saying, like, in a culture that stands on mostly anti-suspect rhetoric, is it kind of odd that Diddy seems to get away with so many suspect moments? Like, fam, I saw a video the other day where someone was asking him about Rick Ross. And Diddy says his name. It's like, Rick Ross. Then he proceeds to lick his upper lip and say, Rick Ross. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Hey, yo. I'm sorry. I had to. That was, man. Yo, hold on. Okay, you listening right now, look in the mirror and just slowly lick your upper lip and look at how that looks right now. Doesn't that look kind of weird, yo? Imagine saying a dude's name and then licking your lip real slow. Just the upper one, not the bottom one. Just lick the upper lip real slow. Doesn't that seem kind of sensual? Like, hey, yo. Like, if we're gonna just get in touch.
Why are you gay?
Season.
You are gay.
Man. Yeah. Nah. Oh my gosh. You know, there's even a crazy rumor that Diddy had his baby mother, Kim Porter, killed because she was working on a tell-all book that was going to out his alleged intimate relationship with his former mentor, Andre Harrell. Which brings me back to the point I mentioned earlier about the homophobia in rap. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, though, it's so deeply embedded that just a mere accusation can actually have dire consequences for a person's career and their future. It's to the point that someone is probably willing to take people out close to them to maintain a facade. I don't know. It seems like that's the case with Diddy, though. But who really knows? Again, power corrupts absolute. Well, power can corrupt, but absolute power corrupts absolutely, or so the saying goes. But how absolute is Diddy's power, though? I don't know. Money can make pawns of all of us, I'm sure. Just give somebody enough. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who actually did several interviews, where he even mentioned that when Diddy was originally kicked out of Uptown Records by Andre Harrell, his mentor, the only reason he was able to actually gain capital to start Bad Boy Records, oh my gosh, was by doing sexual favors for Clive Davis.
Bruh. Why are you gay?
That really sounds like it's deep into conspiracy theory territory. But like, come on, man. I don't know. You be the judge. I ain't here to force my opinion on y'all, though, because if I was to go through every single suspect incident involving this guy, like that's an entire podcast on its own. So yikes. All right, moving on to the final part of the segment. Is the bad boy curse real? Like, first of all, what is the bad boy curse? So basically, the bad boy curse was a colloquial term coined many years ago due to the fact that a notable number of music artists that are signed to Bad Boy, they either end up dead at a young age, broke, or in jail. Let's see if we can actually break down some of the artists that got hit with the curse. Or at least from my perspective, I think that the curse actually affected these guys the most. Craig Mack. I think he was actually the first artist to sign with Bad Boy Records, and everyone knows him for Flavor in Your Ear. Like, Craig was shelved for most of his time on Bad Boy Records because he wasn't down with doing radio-friendly songs, and then he disappeared from rap after he left the label in 97. Somehow he resurfaced again in 2012. Apparently he joined a church that many actually claimed was a cult by like ex-members. The ex-members actually said it's not a church, it's a cult. The leader of that ministry was later arrested on several charges, which included touching young girls. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And then Craig's health ended up deteriorating rapidly over the next several years after that, and unfortunately he passed away in 2018 at the age of 47. R.I.P. Craig Mack. Flavor in your ear. Gotta love it. Alright, who's next? Mace? Macey Bata. You remember Mace. Everybody knows Murder Mace. Come on, man. Mr. Harlem World? Y'all know Mace was the guy. Like, from when? Like, 96 to maybe like 99? And then out of nowhere, the man just decides to announce his retirement to become a pastor? Are we seeing a pattern here? Interesting, right? And at the time of his retirement, though, there was like constant rumors going on that Mace left the music industry because he had a little secret on Diddy. And but Mace did eventually come back to music briefly, but it just was never the same again. Like, but shout outs to him. It's weird the way Diddy drafts up these contracts, because I don't know, it seems to like mess up these artists. I don't know. Shine Poe. Damn, Shine. I mean, he probably was one of the ones that got it the worst from all of the Bad Boy Curse artists. Because in 98, Shine was like, he was such a beast. He was really sought after by like all the labels. They all wanted to sign him. And I think part of the reason was because he kind of sounded and flowed like Biggie. So probably because of that, Diddy like aggressively pursued him. Like, aggressively. Basically, he offered the man millions of dollars, 3 cars of his choice, and 2 homes. Yes, 2 houses just for signing. I mean, like, if that was me, I'd probably have signed that too. Like, you know, when you come from having so little and then you're offered like so much, it's hard to pass up, right? If you're not set, like, or when they come to you young, like when you're young enough to be influenced easily, right? Anyways, shortly after his signing, Shine and a childhood friend were actually in a tragic car accident, and his friend ended up passing away, and Shine only came out with like a few scratches. But apparently, a lot of people were saying that he actually started acting really bizarre, like at the funeral. Like, he was just like laughing and talking like nothing happened. And this was his childhood friend, yo. Like, I don't think he actually just came out of it with just a few scratches that night. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a normal reaction to have for a childhood friend that passed away. But you know what? You can't really knock anybody for how they react to seeing a friend in a coffin. Like, for example, I had a family member pass away. Was it like 20 years ago or so? And I remember at his funeral, one of his friends, it was weird. He kind of had like this smile on his face, but it's like that smile you get when you're uncomfortable. Like, you know how some people just like have weird tics when it comes to like when they're uncomfortable, or like they grieve in different ways. Like, I don't know. It just reminded me of that, to be honest. But again, like, you can't really tell anyone how to grieve. But it did seem bizarre, especially if that's your childhood friend, right? It just does seem bizarre. Anywho, so the Bad Boys curse obviously wasn't done with him there, because a little before the release of his first album. Let's say Shine, Diddy, and Diddy's then girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, shout out to her, were involved in a shooting incident that I'm sure most of y'all remember hearing about back in the day. And for those that don't remember, Diddy had gotten into an altercation with some guys at the club, at the Manhattan Club. I think it was his club. Can't remember. Things got a little muddy. Shine was charged with shooting 3 people, but there were witnesses saying that he wasn't even the first. He didn't fire the first shot, so basically he wasn't the only shooter, they were saying. But anyways, like, Shine shot his gun in the air. That's what a lot of witnesses were saying, and I don't think he shot those people, but that's just me. Anyways, he got sentenced to like 10 years in prison. He also implied that Diddy ratted on him to avoid jail time, which seems very likely. Like, very, very likely that happened. Shine was released in 2009, I think. Was it 2009? When was it? Yeah, I think he was released in 2009. Then he got deported. Like, they didn't even let him stay in the States. Like, as soon as he was released from prison, he was deported. Like, they got him out of here. You know what I mean? They got him out of here so quick. And after he got deported back to his native beliefs and converted to Judaism, actually. I'm telling you, man, there's a pattern. Like, I specifically chose these artists because there's a pattern going on, and you're gonna see it. But that did get really bad for him. Like, but at least he's doing good now. Because last I heard, the brother was elected to the Belize House of Representatives in 2020. So shout outs to Shine. Loon is the next one that I wanted to mention. Because Loon, I really only remember Loon from his verse on "I Need a Girl" Part 2. Because I didn't really listen to Loon like that, to be honest. It's funny though, because I think he dropped his album in 2003, and a year after that, he left the label. 4 years after that, he converted to Islam. Yeah, you heard right. And everything seemed like it was going on the up and up. And apparently, he was arrested in 2012 on charges of conspiracy with intent to traffic 1 or more kilograms of heroin. See, you can just never leave the streets, even when you're trying to go legit, or religion can't save you guys from running the streets. Like, damn, y'all, it's crazy. But although many people did advocate for his innocence, claiming that he didn't actually do it, but you never know. And in 2020, he was actually given early release due to the vid. But again, I'm seeing a pattern here. You got Loon converting to Islam, you got Shine converting to Judaism, you got Mace becoming a pastor. I don't know. It just seems away. But next guy was G-Dep, and I think he actually really has the most tragic one. After Biggie, of course. Because G-Dep signed with Bad Boy back in '98 to $350,000 deal. Yeah. Think about it. Shine was offered millions, but G-Dep only got $350,000 for signing his. Weird. Anyways, his debut album came out in 2001 with the hit single that I'm pretty sure y'all remember, Special Delivery. I want that. Special Delivery. Anyways, but yeah, he was dropped from Bad Boy in 2007, I think. But here's where the curse actually kicked in for him. It's a weird one, though. It's so weird. Okay, guys, listen. On December 15th, 2010, G-Dep walked into the 25th precinct in New York to turn himself in. He confessed to a cold case crime from '93, where a man was shot in the chest by a .40 caliber handgun. And G-Dep stated that he had ambushed and shot the victim during an attempted robbery, fled the scene, threw his gun into the East River, and he was told afterwards that the victim that he attempted to rob actually passed away, and he was subsequently charged with murder. And in a later interview from prison, he actually explained that the reason he confessed was because the case weighed on him and he was just trying to get things right between himself and God. Bro, what did he see? What did he see behind those bad boy doors that, like, I don't know, man. It just, because he didn't even know the victim had died. Like, he didn't even know this, and this man still went and confessed. Like, he could have went to church and confessed to a priest, but nah, he went to the precinct. Like, man, because now he's currently serving a 15-year sentence for second-degree murder. Feel bad for him, man. Real bad. Because that's a crazy way to go, man. That is a crazy way to go. I mean, hell, you can even throw Biggie in there in the list, of course, because, like, he's probably the first one to get hit with the bad boy curse. He literally died in retaliation for the death of someone else that Diddy caused. And that's a double whammy. And that's a double whammy. Like, come on. Think about it. It's really just too strange to me how so many past artists, when they leave, seem to delve heavily into religion. Mace is the pastor, Shine's Jewish, Loon's a devout Muslim, G-Dep had to get right with God, Craig Mack, even though it was a cult, he still was like kind of joining, he thought it was a church at the time. Like, but you know what I mean. I don't know. To me, all seems more than just a coincidence. You see something, like when you see stuff that's just that traumatizing, then you feel you have to turn to God to fix things. Like, no, you had to have seen some evil shit. You had to have seen some dark shit for that. Like, it's a scary thing to think about. What did these people even experience, bro? Like, it's really scary to think about that. And you know, I started going down a rabbit hole too of like, think about like Diddy songs, right? Like, yo, maybe Diddy was telling on himself too. Remember the Diddy song? The D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D. It's Diddy. It's Diddy. But break that down real quick. Hold on. He literally just said D-I-D-D-Y D-I-D, it's. Diddy did it. Yes. Yeah. Am I reaching again? Okay, maybe I'm reaching. But again, like, think about it. D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D, it's. Right? No? Yes? No?
A bullshit? A bullshit?
Okay, it's bullshit. Alright, fuck off. Whatever. Whatever, guys, whatever. But, alright, but I say all that not to diss the man, really. Like, because Bad Boy Records is and was still a legendary label. And as a producer, though a lot of people actually don't even really know this or give him the recognition for it, Diddy is actually a supremely top tier producer, especially when it comes to his musical ear. Like, he's helped influence and move the culture forward. Hell, like he said in 95, we reinvented the remix. Like, hell, like just recently, actually, the man just dropped probably one of the best R&B albums of the year to me. It's called The Love Album, Off the Grid. And I think y'all should actually check it out. If like you're a fan of great R&B like me, actually you should check it out because it's actually not bad. But the problem with him is like everything he does outside of the actual music, like most artists, because like most artists are just crazy. It just looks and feels problematic at times. And I don't know, maybe it's the power plays. Maybe he's doing these power plays that we all hear about, and maybe he's buck breaking artists. Maybe he's buck breaking all these people we don't even know. But I don't know. Personally, I think he did it. Whatever they say he did that shit. To me, he's to me he's hip hop's gay Grim Reaper. I don't know. Yo, I'm gonna cut it off here, yo. Salute to the outro. Peace.